Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, verse 11. Vibhushitam me kalayanguliyakair.
विभूषितं मे खलयाङ्गुलीकैः
Mahadanairnupura kankanadibi.
महाधनैर्नूपुरकङ्कणादिभिः
Snigdhamala kunchita
स्निग्धामलकुञ्चितनीलकुन्तलैः
विरोचमानाननहासपेशलम्
विरोचमानानः शपेशलम्
विभूषितं मेखलयाङ्गुलीयकैर्
विभूषितं मे खलयाङ्गुलीकैः
महादनैर्नूपुरकङ्कणादिभिः
महाधनैर्नूपुरकङ्कणादिभिः
स्निग्धामलाकुञ्चितनीलकुण्ठलैर्
स्निग्धामलकुञ्चितनीलकुन्तलैः
विरोचमानाननहासपेशलम्
विरोचमानानः सपेशलम्
विभूषितं मेखलयाङ्गुलीयकैर्
विभूषितं मे खलयाङ्गुलीकैः
महादनैर्नूपुरकङ्कणादिभिः
महाधनैर्नूपुरकङ्कणादिभिः
स्निग्धामलाकुञ्चितनीलकुण्ठलैर्
स्निग्धामलकुञ्चितनीलकुन्तलैः
विरोचमानाननहासपेशलम्
विरोचमानाननः सपेशलम्
Recite.
विभूषितं मे खलयाङ्गुलीकैः
विभूषितं मेखलयाङ्गुलीयकैर्
महाधनैर्नूपुरकङ्कणादिभिः
महादनैर्नूपुरकङ्कणादिभिः
स्निग्धामलकुञ्चितनीलकुन्तलैः
स्निग्धामलाकुञ्चितनीलकुण्ठलैर्
विरोचमानाननः सपेशलम्
विरोचमानाननहासपेशलम्
विभूषितं मे कलयाङ्गुलीयकैः विभूषितं मे कलयाङ्गुलीयकैः महाधनैर्नूपुरकङ्कणादिभिः महाधनैर्नूपुरकङ्कणादिभिः
महादनैर्नूपुरकङ्कणादिभिः
स्निग्धामलकुञ्चितनीलकुन्तलैः स्निग्धामलकुञ्चितनीलकुन्तलैः
कुञ्चितनीलकुण्ठलैर्
विरोचमानाननः सपेशलम् विरोचमानाननः सपेशलम्
विरोचमानाननहासपेशलम्. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhi Charnarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
जय
Synonyms: Vibhushitam, well decorated.
विभूषितं well decorated
Mekhalaya, with an ornament above the waist.
मेखलया with an ornamental wreath about the waist
Anguliyakaihi, by finger rings.
अंगुलीयकै by finger rings
Mahadanaihi, all highly valuable.
महाधनै all highly valuable
Nupura, ringing leglets.
nupura ringing necklets
Kankana Adibi, also by bangles.
kankana divi also by bangles
Snigdha, slick.
snigdha slick
Amala, spotless.
amala spotless
Akunchita, curling.
akunchita curling
Neela, bluish.
neela bluish
Kuntale, hair.
kuntalai hair
Virochamana, very pleasing.
virochamana very pleasing
Anana, face.
anana face
Hasa, smile.
hasa smile
Peshalam, beautiful.
Peshalam beautiful
Translation, please repeat after me. He is well decorated with an ornamental wreath about his waist
He is well decorated with an ornamental wreath about his waist
and rings studded with valuable jewels on his fingers.
and rings studded with valuable jewels on his fingers.
His leglets, his bangles, his oiled hair curling with a bluish tint, and his beautiful smiling face are all very pleasing.
His leglets, his bangles, his oiled hair curling with are all very pleasing.
So beautiful, you see, just to hear about the Lord's ornaments and decoration itself is amazing. Purport.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the most beautiful person amongst all others, and Srila Sukadeva Goswami describes every part of his transcendental beauty, one after another, in order to teach the impersonalists that the personality of Godhead is not an imagination by the devotee for facility of worship, but is the Supreme Person in fact and figure. The impersonal feature of this absolute truth is but his radiation, as the sun rays are but radiations from the sun.
Hari Om Tat Sadom Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnaprasthaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swamin Iti Namine Namo Acharya Padaya Nitaya Kripa Pradhaine Gaurakata Damadhaya नगर ग्राम तारिणे नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादे पश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदे गौर भक्त वृंद Om Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Krishna Yadavaya Namahari Gopal Govindaram Sri Madhusudana Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangulangai Tegirim Yat Kripa Tamaham Mande Sri Gurum Dinatharinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyamishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. So, very nice verses describing Sukadeva Goswami is giving a very wonderful narration of, he's visualizing. It's not theory. He's visualizing and he's commenting. Bhagavatam is called commentary. Commentary means you must have heard about cricket commentary. So cricket commentaries are live. When it's going on, the commentator will narrate what's going on. Just like Sanjaya was talking to Dhritarashtra, that is commentary. About Srimad Bhagavad Gita, whole thing is a commentary. What's going on really in the Kurukshetra battlefield, and that Sanjaya was talking to Dhritarashtra. So that is called commentary. So one who is not eyewitnessing an event cannot be doing commentary, right? So the if the commentator is potent enough, then the hearer can also visualize that. So here Sukadeva Goswami is commenting, means he is witnessing and is narrating what he is witnessing. And the competent hearer like Parikshit Maharaj mainly and others like Sutta Goswami, they are also potent enough to visualize and what this, just like Dhritarashtra was able to visualize what Sanjaya was narrating in the similar way. So the commentator is actually visualizing. So Srimad Bhagavatam is always live and it is eternal and it is the commentary. So direct commentary of Vyasadev on the Vedanta Sutra. So these are all the narrations and whatever Srila Sukadeva Goswami is telling to Parikshit Maharaj, simply he is just describing what he is seeing. This is the very wonderful, what I can say, experience of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is like that. It's all practical. There is no theory in our Krishna consciousness. Everything is practical. Supreme Soul is the super soul, and he, Krishna, is all attractive. One cannot be Supreme Soul without being all attractive. If God is supreme, therefore the nomenclature of God can be addressed as Krishna perfectly well. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada says. So here is the narration of how beautifully is ornamental. Yesterday we discussed that Krishna, he is the ornament of all ornaments. So it is he who beautifies the ornaments, not the other way around. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, verse 12. Adina hasite kshanollasat.
अदीनलीला हसितेक्षणोलसत्
Bhrubhanga samsuchita bhuri anugraham.
Prashancho
भ्रुभङ्गसंकुचितभूरिः
Puriyanagraham
Iksheta chintamayamenamishwaram.
Chinda Mayamena Mishwaram
ईक्षेतचिन्तामणिपुरम्
Yavan manodharana yavatishtate.
Yavan Manodaranaya Vastise
Adina hasite kshanollasat.
Adivina Lila Asitekshanolasarat
Rubhanga samsuchita bhuri anugraham.
Rubanga Samsita Puriyanguraham
Iksheta chintamayamenamishwaram.
Iksheta Shinda Mayamena Mashwaram
Yavan manodharana yavatishtate.
Yavan Manodaranaya Vastise
Adina hasite kshanollasat.
Aditya Lila Hasitekshanolasa
Bhrubanga samsuchita bhuri anugraham.
Rubang Gasamsu Chitaburi Anugraham
Iksheta chintamayamenamishwaram.
Icheta Chinda Mayamena Vishwaram
Yavan manodharana yavatishtate.
Yavan
यावन्मनोदारणयावतिष्ठ
Manodaranaya Vakise
Yeah.
Adina Lila Achiteka Sanolasat
अदीनलीला हसितेक्षणोलसत्
Rubang Gasamsu भूरि अनुग्रहम्
भ्रूवङ्गसंसूचितभूरि अनुग्रहम्
इक्षेत्त चिन्तामयमेन विवस्वरम्
इक्षेतचिन्तामयनेनमीश्वरम्
यावन्मनोधारणायावतिष्ठते
यावन्मनोधारणयावतिष्ठते अधीनलीला हसिते क्षणो लसत्
अदीनलीला हसिते क्षणोलसत्
भ्रिवुभङ्गसंसूचितभूरि अनुग्रहम्
गुरुवङ्गसंसूषितभुविनुग्रहम्
इक्षेतचिन्तामयमेनमीश्वरम्
इक्षेत्त चिन्तामयमेनमीश्वरम्
यावन्मनोधारणयो वतिष्ठते
यावन्मनोधारणयोऽवतिष्ठते
अधीनलीला
दीनलीला हसिते क्षणोलसत् गुरुवङ्गसंसूषितभुविनुग्रहम् इक्षेतचिन्तामयमेनमीश्वरम् यावन्मनोधारणयोऽवतिष्ठते
Synonyms. Adina, very magnanimous.
Adina, very magnanimous.
Leela, pastimes.
Leela, pastimes.
Hasita, smiling.
Asita, smiling.
Ekshana, by glancing over.
Ikshana, by glancing over.
Ekshana, by glancing over. Ullasat, glowing.
Ullas, glowing.
Bhruvanga, signals of the eyebrow.
Kruvanga, signals of the eyebrow.
Samsuchita, indicated.
Samsukita, indicated.
Bhuri, extensive.
Puri, extensive.
Anugraham, benediction.
Anugraham, benediction.
Iksheta, one must concentrate on.
Iksheta, one must concentrate on.
Chintamayam, transcendental.
Chintamayam, transcendental.
Enam, this particular.
Enam, this particular.
Ishwaram, the Supreme Lord.
Ishwaram, the Supreme Lord.
Yavat, as long as.
Yavat, as long as.
Mana, the mind.
Mana, the mind.
Dharanaya, by meditation.
Dharanaya, meditation.
Avatistate, can be fixed.
Avasthite can be fixed.
Translation, please repeat after me. The Lord's magnanimous pastimes and the glowing glancing of his smiling face are all indications of his extensive benedictions.
The Lord's magnanimous pastimes and the glowing glancing of his smiling face are all indications of his extensive benedictions.
One must therefore concentrate on this transcendental form of the Lord.
One must therefore concentrate on the transcendental form of the Lord.
As long as the mind can be fixed on him by meditation.
As long as the mind can be fixed on him by meditation.
So now you know how to take darshan in front of the deity. In this verse and the next, it is explained. Very beautiful.
Purport.
In the Bhagavad Gita 12.5, it is said that the impersonalist undergoes a series of difficult programs on account of his impersonal meditation. But the devotee, due to the Lord's personal service, progresses very easily. Impersonal meditation Impersonal meditation is therefore a source of suffering for the impersonalist. Here, the devotee has an advantage over the impersonalist philosopher. The impersonalist is doubtful about the personal feature of the Lord, and therefore he always tries to meditate upon something which is not objective. For this reason, there is an authentic statement in the Bhagavatam regarding the positive concentration of the mind on the factual form of the Lord. The process of meditation recommended herein is Bhakti Yoga, or the process of devotional service after one is liberated from the material conditions. Jnana Yoga is the process of liberation from the material conditions. After one is liberated from the conditions of material existence, that is, when one is nivritta, as previously stated herein, or when one is freed from all material necessities, one becomes qualified to discharge the process of Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga includes Gnana Yoga. In other words, the process of pure devotional service simultaneously serves the purpose of Jnana Yoga because liberation from material conditions is automatically achieved by the gradual development of pure devotional service. These effects of Bhakti Yoga are called Anartha Nivritti. Things which are artificially acquired gradually disappear along with the process of Bhakti Yoga. Meditation on the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, the first processional step, must show its effect by Anartha Nivritti. The grosset type of anartha, which binds the conditioned soul in material existence, is sex desire. And this sex desire gradually develops in the union of the male and the female. When the male and the female are united, the sex desire is further aggravated build, by the accumulation of buildings, children, friends, relatives, and wealth. When all these are acquired, the conditioned soul becomes overwhelmed by such entanglements, and the false sense of egoism or the sense of myself and mine becomes prominent, and the sex desire expands to various political, social, altruistic, philanthropic, and many other unwanted engagements, resembling the form resembling the foam of the sea waves, which becomes very prominent at one time and at the next moment vanishes as quickly as a cloud in the sky. The conditioned soul is encircled by such products as well as products of sex desire, and therefore Bhakti Yoga leads to gradual evaporation of the sex desire, which is summarized in three headings, namely profit, adoration, and distinction. All conditioned souls are mad after these different forms of sex desire, and one shall see for himself how much he has been freed from such material hankerings based primarily on the sex desire. As a person feels his hunger satisfied after eating each morsel of foodstuff, he must similarly be able to see the degree with which he has been freed from sex desire. The sex desire is diminished along with its various forms by the process of bhakti yoga, because bhakti yoga automatically by the grace of the Lord effectively results in knowledge and renunciation, even if the devotee is not materially very well educated. Knowledge means knowing things as they are, and if by deliberation it is found that there are things which are at all unnecessary, naturally the person who has acquired knowledge leaves aside such unwanted things. When the conditioned soul finds by culture of knowledge that material necessities are unwanted things, he becomes detached from such unwanted things. This stage of knowledge is called vairagya, or detachment from unwanted things. We have previously discussed that the transcendentalist is required to be self sufficient and should not beg from the rich blind persons to fulfill the bare necessities of life. Shukadev Goswami has suggested some alternatives for the bare necessities of life, namely the problem of eating, sleeping, and shelter, but he has not suggested any alternative for sex satisfaction. One who has the sex desire still with him should not at all try to accept the renounced order of life. For one who has not attained to this stage, there is no There is no question of a renounced order of life. So, by the gradual process of devotional service under the guidance of a proper spiritual master and following the principles of the Bhagavatam, one must be able to at least to control the gross sex desire before one accepts the renounced order of life factually. So, purification means getting free gradually from sex desire, and this is attained by meditation on the person of the Lord as described herein, beginning from the feet. One should not try to go upwards artificially without seeing for himself how much he has been released from the sex desire. The smiling face of the Lord is the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and there are many upstarts who at once try to begin with the 10th canto, and especially with the five chapters which delineate the Rasa Leela of the Lord. This is certainly improper. By such improper study or hearing of Bhagavatam, the material opportunists have played havoc by indulgence in sex life in the name of Bhagavatam. This vilification of Bhagavatam is rendered by the acts of the so called devotees. One should be free from all kinds of sex desire before he tries to make a show of recital of Bhagavatam. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur clearly defines the import of purification as cessation from sex indulgence. He says, Yatha yatha dhischa shuddhyati vishaya lampatyam tyajati tadha tatha dharayet iti chitta shuddhi taratmayaneva dhyanataratmayam uktam. And as one gets free from the intoxication of sex indulgence by purification of intelligence, one should step forward for the next meditation, or in other words, the progress of meditation on the different limbs of the transcendental body of the Lord should be enhanced in proportion to the progress of purification of the heart. The conclusion is that those who are still entrapped by sex indulgence should never progress to meditation above the feet of the Lord. Therefore, recital of Srimad Bhagavatam by them should be restricted for the first and second cantos of the great literature. One must complete the purificatory process by assimilating the contents of the first 9 cantos. Then one should be admitted into the realm of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Hari Om Tat Sad. So, how to read Bhagavatam is also explained in the purport, and how to take darshan of the Lord is also explained in this and the next verse. Very, very beautiful. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So, our method is Bhakti Yoga. Everything is Bhakti Yoga. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha. We have seen in first canto, second chapter, Bhakti Yoga through Lord Chaitanya. Because Krishna himself is teaching how to approach Krishna by Bhakti Yoga. So if we follow the path of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then it is very easy. Easy because the master himself is teaching how to approach the master. Very beautiful, no? Just like a teacher takes the pen from the student and he instructs, hold it, do this, A, B, C. So the master is not the student. Then he is writing ABCD, but he is teaching the student writing ABCD. So similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is master, he is Krishna himself. That was detected by Rupa Goswami. Namo Mahavatanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauradvishe Namaha. So he could understand. When he first met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Prayag, he said, Sir, you are Mahavadanyaya. You are so magnanimous. Why? Krishna Prema Pradayate. You are distributing Krishna Prema, love for Krishna, which is very, very difficult. Krishna says, Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschid Yatati Siddhaye. Nobody can understand Krishna. What to speak of Krishna Prema? It's very, very difficult. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he distributed this Krishna Prema just like anything. Take Krishna Prema. Factually, you see. Because this Krishna consciousness movement is being pushed on in the line of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How easily, how quickly this everybody, can take it. Through mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it has become possible. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda. So this is entrance into the Krishna Prema. Krishna Prema Pradayate. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described by Rupa Goswami as Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. Just see. So very beautiful. Very, 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 very beautiful. So the narration of the pastimes of the Lord, which are always enacted on the transcendental platform. He says, Janma Karma Chame Divyam. So Karma Chame Divyam matlab is Leelas. His pastimes are Divyam, transcendental. So we must receive that with all respect. And those who are actually on the transcendental platform, they never satiated by hearing. They want to continuously hear more and more. The more they hear, the more they want to hear. So that is even self-realized soul reads from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Just see. So you may read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam narrations thousands and thousands of times and still without fail new aspect of the subject matter will be relished by the devotee. This is the nature of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the material world, the conditioned souls, they strive to lord it over one another. That's why they cannot understand the pastimes of the actual lords of the universe. But such bona fide lords have a wonderfully magnanimous mentality and thus sometimes bow down to the most qualified and saintly among their own subjects also. So Rupa Goswami has told, they could detect also, Rupa Goswami, you are no other than Krishna, he says to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Otherwise, who could give Krishna Prema so easily? If Krishna himself can give it, so you are giving it. So Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never he disclosed himself that he is Krishna himself. Although he was detected many times by his expert devotees like Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, he never said that I am Krishna. He never said. Sometimes in Vrindavan, some Vrindavana residents, they came to eulogize him that, sir, you are Krishna. We can understand. So he closed his ears like this with both hands and said, don't say like that. Oh, it's a great offense to speak a common man as Krishna. Yes. So this is a teaching of Lord Chaitanya that to accept Krishna as ordinary man is an offense. Similarly, to accept an ordinary man as Krishna or God is also an offense. So he taught that. So that's going on nowadays in Kali Yuga. Any common man is declaring himself that I am God. If anybody goes on, how you are God? He will say, you are also God. You realize, I realized, you didn't realize. Like that, all bogus speeches, people are accepting it. This is offense. We should understand who is actually Krishna. How we will understand? From the direction of the Shastra and spiritual master. Not any bogus man comes before us and declares himself that I am Krishna, I am God, and we will accept. No, that's not good. So, the present moment, there is no protection of the ruler. Everybody can go on like everything. There is no check. But this wasn't possible when there were Kshatriya kings in the country at that time, Bharatavarsha. Nobody can pretend as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He will be immediately punished. So, the process is now as recommended by Sutta Goswami. Sutta Goswami, who is giving direction based on what Sukadeva Goswami is giving. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. We should render a devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. So, Asu Vairagyam, Janyati Asu Vairagyam, that is required. We must be detestful of this material world. We should not be very much optimistic about material world. Material means pessimism. There is the optimism in that. So the people say auspicious, inauspicious. Auspicious means spiritual. Anything material is always inauspicious. Similarly, optimistic means spiritual. Anything material is pessimistic. So when we are spiritually advanced, there is no difference between material and spiritual. That's a different thing. That's a different platform. That's another stage. But in the beginning, we should be detasteful. Param drishtva nivartante. We should try to find out better position of spiritual life. But if we entangle ourselves with this materialistic way of life, we can gratify our senses for the time being, but that will not help us. The Shastra condemns this. This kind of sense gratification is there in the life of dogs and hogs also. So we should not waste our time simply by sense gratification like dogs and hogs. We should take to principles of Bhakti Yoga, make our life successful by developing real knowledge, jnana, and become detached to this material world. So that is wanted. So in this particular words, very beautifully, he started telling that the Lord's magnanimous pastimes and the glowing glancing of his smiling face are all indications of his extensive benedictions. Just you see, so he sees, he smiles. That itself is benediction for one and all. One must therefore concentrate on this transcendental form of the Lord. The same instruction Arjuna has got from Krishna. Krishna says, Ma Manusranam Udyacha. This form of mind you should always meditate upon. Think of. Meditate means thinking. Thinking means what? Chanting. Because before calling out anybody's name, you think of them. So before chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you think of Krishna. This is very natural. We may realize it, we may not realize it, but it always happens. The Smaranam is there before your Kirtanam, and Shravanam is there after your Kirtanam. So first you think of somebody, then you call them. When you call them, you hear the name also, what you call. In the similar way, when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are actually thinking of Krishna. We may not realize it. We are actually thinking of Radha and Krishna. We are actually thinking of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who gave this particular Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than the combined form of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Balaram Hoila Nitai and Nityananda Prabhu is none other than Balaram. So we say Nitai Gauranga. And when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra is given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it means we are already thinking about Krishna. And when we chant Hare Krishna, we can hear also. In this way, the Sravanam, Kirtanam and Vishnu Smaranam goes on. They are entwined into each other. So you just focus on only one of the devotion service. All other devotion service will fall into place automatically by this process. So in this way, by constantly chanting the holy name of the Lord, you will be able to concentrate on the transcendental form of the Lord. So here it is said, as long as the mind can fixed on them. So when we go to take darshan, we just see darshan and come out very quickly. That means our mind is only meditating on flickering moment. So if you see Guru Maharaj and all, when he goes to take darshan, he will stay for a long time and take darshan of the Lord. That means mind is fixing on that particular form of the Lord for that long. So this is Sukadeva Goswami is giving a hint here. So we'll go to the next verse. Prabhupada will tell you how to take darshan of the Lord. 2.2.13 एकैकशोऽग्नानि धियानुभावयेत्
एकशोधनानिधियायुभावेत्
पादादियावादशिथं गधाभृता
पादादियावत्
यावदशितं गदाभरत्
जिथं जिथं स्थानमपोह्य धारयेत्
जितं
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 जितं स्थानम् अपोह्य धारयेत्
परं परं सोद्यति धीर्यथा यथा
परं
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 परं सुव्यधिधैर्यातयाता
So, एकैकशोगानि धियानुभावयेत्
एकैकवसानो ऋगाणि
एकशोधनानिधियानुभावेत्
ज्ञानुभवत्य
पधादियावदशिथां गदावृता
पादादियां
पदादि यावदशिष्टां
गतवृत्
गदाभरत्
जिथं जितं स्थानमपोह्य धारयेत्
जितं
जितं जितं
जितं
स्थानम् अपोह्य धारयेत्
Param param sodyati diryatayata.
Param param sodhya
Param param sudhyati divyataya tata.
Ekaikashogani diyanubhavayet.
ek shobha
Ekai shakti igani dhyanu
Padadiyavadasitham gadabhrata.
padadiya
Padadiyavat nidasistam gabalat.
Jitam jitam sthanam apohya darayet.
jitam jitam sthanam
Jitam jitam sthanam abhoya dharet.
Param param sodyati diryatayata.
param param
Param param jati divyatayata.
एकैकशोगानिधियानुभावयेत्
Ekaikashogani diyanubhavayet.
पादादियावदशितं गदाभृता
Vamajiyanat.
जितं जितं स्थानमपोह्य धारयेत्
Jitam jitam sthanam apohya darayet.
परं परं शुध्यति धीर्यथा यथा
Param param sodyati diryatayata. So, synonyms. Eka, ekasha, one to one or one after another.
एक एकशः one to one or one after another
Angani, limbs.
अंगानि limbs
Diya, by attention.
धिया by attention
Anubhavayet, meditate upon.
anubhavayet meditate upon
Pada adi, legs, etc.
pada adi legs etc
Yavat, until.
yavat until
Hasitam, smiling.
hasitam smiling
Gadha, Bhrutha, the personality of Godhead.
Gadabhrita, the personality of Godhead.
Jitam, jitam, gradually controlling the mind.
Jitam, jitam, gradually controlling the mind.
Sthanam, place.
Thanam, place.
Apohya, leaving.
Apohya, leaving.
Dharayet, meditate upon.
Dharayet, meditate upon.
Param, param, higher and higher.
Param, param, higher and higher.
Shuddhyati, purified.
Shuddhyate, purified.
Dhi, intelligence.
Dhi, intelligence.
Yatha, yatha, as much as.
Yatha, yatha, as much as.
Translation, please repeat after me. The process of meditation should begin from the lotus feet of the Lord.
The process of meditation should begin from the lotus feet of the Lord
And progress to his smiling face.
and progress to his smiling face.
The meditation should be concentrated upon the lotus feet.
The meditation should be concentrated upon the lotus feet,
Then the calves.
then the calves,
Then the thighs.
then the thighs,
And in this way, higher and higher.
and in this way, higher and higher.
The more the mind becomes fixed upon the different parts of the limbs,
The more the mind becomes fixed upon the different parts of the limbs,
one after another,
one after another,
the more the intelligence becomes purified.
the more the intelligence becomes purified.
Purport.
Purport. The process of meditation recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam is not to fix one's attention on something impersonal or void. The meditation should concentrate on the person of the Supreme Godhead, either in his Virat Rupa, the gigantic universal form, or in his Satchidananda Vigraha, as described in the scriptures. There are authorized descriptions of Vishnu forms and there are authorized representations of deities in the temples. Thus, one can practice meditating upon the deity, concentrating his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord, and gradually rising higher and higher up to his smiling face. According to the Bhagavad school, the Lord's rasa dancing is the smiling face of the Lord. Since it is recommended in this verse that one should gradually progress from the lotus feet up to the smiling face, we shall not jump at once to understand the Lord's pastimes in the rasa dance. It is better to practice concentrating our attention by offering flowers and tulsi to the lotus feet of the Lord. In this way, we gradually become purified by the archana process. We we dress the Lord, bathe him, etc., and all these transcendental activities help us purify our existence. When we reach the higher standard of purification, if we see the smiling face of the Lord or hear the rasa dance pastimes of the Lord, then we can relish his activities. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, therefore, the rasa dance pastimes are delineated in the 10th canto, chapters 29 to 34. The more one concentrates on the transcendental form of the Lord, either on the lotus feet, the calves, the thighs, or the chest, the more one becomes purified. In this verse, it is clearly stated the more the intelligence becomes purified, which means the more one becomes detached from sense gratification. Our intelligence in the present conditioned state of life is impure due to being engaged in sense gratification. The result of meditation on the transcendental form of the Lord will be manifested by one's detachment from sense gratification. Therefore, the ultimate purpose of meditation is purification of one's intelligence. Those who are too engrossed in sense gratification cannot be allowed to participate in Archana or to touch the transcendental form of the Radha Krishna or Vishnu deities. For them, it is better to meditate upon the gigantic Virat Rupa of the Lord, as recommended in the next verse. The impersonalists and the voidists are therefore recommended to meditate upon the universal form of the Lord, whereas the devotees are recommended to meditate on the deity worship in the temple. Because the impersonalists and the voidists are not sufficiently purified in their spiritual activities, Archana is not meant for them.
Hari Om Tat Sat. So, when a devotee wants to see the transcendental form of the Lord, he begins his meditation on the Lord's body by first looking at the feet of the Lord. And Srimad Bhagavatam is considered to be the transcendental sound form of the Lord, and the 12 cantos are divided in accordance with the transcendental form of the Lord. The first and second cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam is the two lotus feet of the Lord. So, it is therefore suggested, even by Lord Shiva, that one should first try to see the lotus feet of the Lord. This also means that if one is serious about reading Srimad Bhagavatam, he must begin by seriously studying the first and second canto. Another very important uh, point is that uh, generally everyone, devotees, wants to take the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord is recommended. Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo means preparing for liberation from birth and death. So, even though there are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. So, it's very important that one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are accepted as the most suitable boat for crossing the ocean of nescience, can achieve liberation as easily as one leaps over the holes made by the hoof of calf. So, we need to understand taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord means Guru Ashraya, because we call the pure devotee Guru as a Namavam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale. So that's the pranam mantra. So in that we understand that is the lotus feet of the Lord. Sakshat Haridvena Samasta Shastre. All the Shastra says the spiritual master is the Sakshat Hari. He is the Lord Radha Madan Mohan and is the representative of Govinda. So we need to understand in what all way you can meditate on the lotus feet of Krishna. In front of the Vigraha, you concentrate on the lotus feet. And Srimad Bhagavatam, you read first two canto with full concentration and attentiveness. That means your mind is fixing on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Take shelter of a spiritual master. That means you're taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Because the spiritual master and the pure devotees are generally called Namo Vishnu Pada. So all the devotees are situated at the lotus feet. They are called Vishnu Pada. They are representative of the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna. So this is the process. And then we can gradually progress to Dasya, Sakya, and so on and so forth. So any questions or comments or realization, you can please do share with us. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you for the association. So let's resume our class tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Till then, Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Patita Pavan Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Vaishnav Pranam. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Sri Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Gaur Prem